From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Late Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
It's a beautiful, beautiful Friday night in the city of Abuja, Nigeria's capital. And of course, right now, you're watching the O&M Late Show. My name is Mamode Akuga. And of course, as usual, my tag team partner, Obiora, is here.
Yeah, I'm here, and it's a wonderful evening. As usual, the package is tight. If you followed us on the social media, I'm sure you have an idea of what this evening is going to be like. Well, Mamode, the big news today was the passing of the Saudi Arabian king.
Yes, King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz. He died at the age of 90, which very satisfactory, lived to a ripe old age. Of course, his half-brother, Prince Salman, has already taken the reins of power. But King Abdulaziz will be missed by so many people, especially the West.
Yes, by so many people, because he was a guy that, he was a man that brought a lot of changes in Saudi Arabia, a lot of modernization, well, a little openness, you know, to open Saudi Arabia is big business.
Big, yes, you know. It definitely takes some time. But he tried to modernize the
he tried to modernize.
But by far, why the West will miss him so much was that, you know, he joined hands with the West in the fight against terrorism. Yes.
Yes.
He combated, you know, Al-Qaeda very strongly, joined the U.S. and other Western countries to fight Al-Qaeda.
Oh, yes. As I was telling you before the program came on, that I was listening and some guy said that the new king has a lot in his inbox.
Oh, definitely.
The challenges in the Middle East, Yemen, of course, you know, today in Yemen, there's no government.
Yes,
this capital has been taken over by rebels.
Yes, President Hadi's government is completely collapsed.
You know?
Yes.
So, of course, you have ISIS in Syria, in Iraq. You know, a whole lot of trouble around that area.
So the new king, of course, Saudi Arabia will have so much on his plate, including, of course, maintaining the very cordial relationship that the immediate past king had with the West.
Well, back home, the storm, I don't know whether it's in a teacup or,
I think,
or in a big bowl.
I think it's in a big bowl.
Yes, is the request or demand, or I don't know what to call it, that the National Security Advisor made in London, somewhere in London.
Yes, in the UK.
You know, asking for the postponement of the elections.
As a result of the inability of INEC to have distributed another 30 million PVCs. But, you know, the opposition party rose very stoutly to condemn it, to say that it was a ploy by a government that was drowning to buy some more time to enable it try to catch up, to rejig his game. So, but
I don't think it was only the opposition. The civil societies, individuals have risen against it because a lot of people are saying that you don't change the goalposts. I mean, in the midst of a game.
Yeah, but what must be said, Obiora, is that whatever the National Security Advisor said, and even if you're going to have a postponement for whatever reason, it will not be outside the law. The Nigerian Constitution still allows, within a 3-month time limit between now and April, to conduct elections. So it will not be something that is unconstitutional. So I think Nigerians need to first understand that. It's just that the mood and the country probably will not entertain that type of idea. But again, INEC, who's the umpire in all this,
they didn't allow the man to complete the sentence.
They said, you know, we are ready.
We are ready.
So
why are you asking us for postponement?
I'm sure that a lot more will be heard in that regard in the coming days ahead, whether or not it will be postponed. But let's go straight to quickly tell you that our guests for tonight, first we're going to be taking on the APC gubernatorial candidate for Akwa Ibom State. He was former secretary to the Akwa Ibom State government.
He was also finance commissioner.
Yes,
under
the government of Victor Atta.
Victor Atta, yes.
Yes, and before that, he was state director of budget, planning and putting things together for Akwa Ibom State. So he's been the Akwa Ibom State government for a while.
Umana Okon.
Yes. Umana.
He'll be joining us in a moment. He's already seated in our ante studio.
Yes.
And in a moment he'll be here.
Quite a lot to talk about in Akwa Ibom.
A lot of fireworks.
Yeah, because it looks like a two-horse race, really.
Yes.
There are other parties, but it's probably going to be just between PDP and APC. And I can tell you, Obiora, the two contestants have quite a lot in common. Both of them haven't been former secretary to state government under Godswill Akpabio. So we will talk about all that.
We'll get to that in a moment.
But we're going to be talking with another gentleman.
Yes,
Obiora.
we are talking with a very controversial young Nigerian. I remember in one of my programs I had hosted him when he wrote a book. He called it My Phlegmatic President. And he tried to, explain the personality of President Jonathan. But this time he's now doing a book on Buhari, General Buhari and President Jonathan, and looking at the psychological makeup of these two men.
It's going to be principally telling us why Jonathan behaves the way he behaves.
Why Jonathan is Jonathan
and why Buhari is Buhari. So we'll talk about all that in just a moment. We will return shortly with the O&M show. Don't go away. For almost 3 decades, have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television, first with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known, the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, with the O&M Late Show.
Mamode and I will be bringing our decades of experience to bear on our new talk show, the O&M Late Show.
In our careers, we have blazed many trails, and we are thrilled and ready to set new records with nighttime television. The O&M Late Show,
your late night catch-up.
Vujicic, and I love traveling around the world, fishing, golfing, and swimming. I love living life. I am happy.
Mahmoud, the strength of the human spirit.
Yes.
And you know what actually worries me is that if someone in Nigeria is half as unfortunate, in quotes, as he is, he will be on the streets of Abuja, on the streets of Enugu, on the streets of Maiduguri, begging.
Just begging.
But this man is living a full life.
Yes, and making, of course, something out of life itself. Obviously enjoying life, to also be playing golf, really.
I mean
so.
Well, you're watching the O&M Late Show, and our first guest is with us in the studio. Some call him the strong man of Akwa Ibom politics, former finance commissioner, former secretary to government, former this, former that.
Yes.
Umana, and currently the gubernatorial
APC gubernatorial candidate,
yes,
for Akwa Ibom
State. Umana
Okon Umana.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you.
Welcome to the O&M show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Such a long journey.
Yeah.
I remember coming to your office about 8 or 9 years ago. You were a commissioner for finance.
Yeah, oh, that's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah. So tell us about the journey to where you are today, being a very strong contender for the office of governor of Akwa Ibom State.
Well, indeed, it's been a journey, and I like to say that it's a journey that has prepared me for the exalted office of governor of Akwa Ibom State, and I believe that anybody who aspires to that kind of office should be adequately prepared, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and in terms of capacity building. So I would like to say that in running the course of that journey, of course you know that I was in the civil service, rose through the ranks, became Director of Budget, Permanent Secretary of Budget, and then under the administration of Governor Atta, I was appointed Commissioner for Finance, and then also served as Secretary to State Government in the administration of Governor Godswill Akpabio. So I believe that I have been adequately prepared for the office in terms of the experience I have acquired over the years, in terms of building capacity, in terms of building networks, in terms of my connection with the people of Akwa Ibom State, because I believe that if you are running for that kind of office, you should know the terrain, and those who also would have the opportunity to vote for you should know your antecedents, should know your capability. So I think it's been a worthwhile journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what a lot of people wonder about is with where you are today as the APC gubernatorial candidate. They take their minds back and they say you were Secretary to State Government for 7 years.
Six years.
Okay, for 6 years,
yeah,
under the administration of Godswill Akpabio.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who are familiar with that part of the country know that you served as Secretary to State Government, but apart from that, you were also close friends to Godswill Akpabio. But today, you are in different political parties. You know, what happened? What caused that friction? You had to leave PDP and go to a new party, APC. I mean, you had to resign also from the government of Godswill Akpabio as Secretary to State Government. What led to all that?
Well, nothing personal, really. For my exit from the administration, I think that is normal, because it is purely routine. If you are appointed to serve, then you can also leave at any time. If your principal feels you can no longer continue for whatever reasons, then you can leave. You also have a right to also say, well, I've had enough. Let me disengage and attend to other matters. So I don't think that is a big deal.
But was it because, I mean, just to put it straight, was it because you wanted to be governor that caused the friction between the two of you?
Well, I wouldn't know. It was clear that I had the ambition to be governor. The governor himself was fully aware, and at some point he himself personally told me he would like to see me succeed him because according to him, I had the experience and the capability to serve as governor, and that he believed I'll make a good governor. So, and then I had to leave when one fine day I was in Abuja, and then I received reports that my office was invaded by security personnel, and the office was sealed up. I had no idea what it was all about, but that's what happened. And so at that stage, I felt there was no way I could continue. But we've put all that behind us. I think the future is more important than the manner of my disengagement from office, because as I said, maybe the way I had to leave was mismanaged, but the fact that I had to leave for me is routine. There's nothing to bother about. So okay. I wouldn't even think we should pay attention to that.
Okay, even though a lot of Nigerians would have wanted to know the small details. Why? Because somebody comes and seals the office. It doesn't just happen when people wake up and that starts happening. So something must have happened. But since you want us to put it behind you, we'll put it behind you. There's no doubt, no matter what anyone says, that Godswill Akpabio has taken Akwa Ibom State to a higher level. If you become governor, how would he improve on his performance? What are your plans? What are you presenting in front of the people of Akwa Ibom?
Well, I think that's a fair question, but we must also look at where we are before we can talk about the future. And I agree, I was part of the Governor Akpabio administration, but I have always made one point clear. If you are not the one sitting out there in the cockpit as captain, you are not. There can only be one captain, and the captain must take responsibility for the successes and, of course, the failures. So this is the Akpabio administration, and today I'm a free citizen. I'm not part of the administration, and like other people in Akwa Ibom, I have a right to ask telling questions, questions which would even define how we are going to handle the future. And of course, such questions bother on the achievements, certainly, because you're talking about the achievements, and then how are we going to build on the achievements? The achievements must be discussed within the context of the resources that have accrued to the states. And as citizens of Akwa Ibom State, we have repeatedly asked governments in these past 7 years plus, how much revenues have accrued to the states? Nobody has bothered to answer that question. What is the debt profile of Akwa Ibom State today? Because those of us who aspire to become governors, it is a fair and pertinent question. And we demand that government should come out and state the position as to how much we are owing. I can also put things in context because I was Commissioner for Finance. The 8 years of the Atta administration, the total revenues that accrued to Akwa Ibom State from all sources, internally generated revenue, statutory allocation, derivation, and other special revenues, came to about 452 billion naira, 8 years. And then Akpabio's budget, the budget of Akpabio's administration for 2014 is 463 billion. What does that tell you? It means the Akpabio administration is managing revenues in 1 year that Atta managed in 8 years. And therefore, when Nigerians are fed with stories of uncommon transformation, they should also look at the context of resources. If Akwa Ibom State, for example, receives what the entire Southeast zone receives, then we must look very critically at the achievements. I'm not saying we've not recorded achievements, but I'm saying that for us to objectively assess the achievements, the government too should tell us the other side of the story, which has to do with the resource profile of the state. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Iweala, made the very fundamental observation. It was in the papers, nobody has refuted it, and she said, look, Akwa Ibom State, the revenues accruing to Akwa Ibom State exceed the revenues many countries in West Africa and even in other parts of Africa, and in a year. That's the revenues accruing to Akwa Ibom State in 1 year. And that's in her opinion. What you can find there is totally disproportionate when compared to
monies that have come in.
Yes, that have come in. So that is why I'm saying don't look at one side of the story. It is important that we should also look at the other side. And just recently, let me give you another example.
Yes.
Just recently, Mr. President was in Akwa Ibom State to commission the stadium, which was celebrated and shown on, I think, about 30 channels all over the world, and by some accounts, over 6 billion naira was spent, because since the government wouldn't publish the figures, then the citizens can then look for the figures elsewhere. And then the governor gave a speech. I watched it live on television. He spoke for about 40 minutes and did not mention the cost of the stadium. I mean, that is a very serious omission, because what the citizens ought to know, because it is taxpayers' money, you should let the citizens know how much it costs to build the stadium. We know, for example, that the stadium in Port Harcourt, built by Governor Amechi, seating capacity 40,000, with all the other facilities. There's a games village, facilities for indoor games, swimming pools, I think 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Costs, which was stated 32 billion. You can Google it, you can find it. It is the same with other stadia built around the world. 32. Now, the Akwa Ibom Stadium, seating capacity 30,000. Costs not stated. It's concealed. Nobody knows. And then those who have managed to get the figures from sources within government, it's over 100 and something billion. So the point is this: where there's no transparency, it means the citizens can be ripped off, and then you have that fanfare, that show to deceive the people. Oh, that this is uncommon. You must come clean. Let us also hear the other side of the story. How much did it cost? So that people can then objectively say, okay, this cost, is it reasonable?
Yes,
it goes to the root of good governance, transparency. Yes.
You put a question mark on the transparency of Governor Akpabio. Yes, well, a lot of people may say they don't see that very clearly like some other governors do. For instance, Bayelsa governor calls a regular transparency briefing and reels out figures to the people of Bayelsa State and what it's doing. But what some people might wonder about is this issue of transparency, because you were part of that government for years. Was it a source of conflict? Did you impress on him that transparency was crucial, was important for any government and needed to be put out there?
Well, this is the whole point about somebody taking charge. The office of governor, as defined in the Constitution, is an executive office. The governor has executive powers, and therefore it is all about the governor. He's the only one, like in Akwa Ibom State, who approves expenditure. Even the deputy governor cannot approve expenditure of 10,000. So the SSG, for example, has no powers to approve money. It is only the governor who approves money. And then if I am governor and people are asking me, how much have you received? And the questions have been asked in the last 2 years and there's no response. If my commissioner for finance cannot, because it's not that if my commissioner for finance cannot provide information, of course, I will remove him if he cannot, and then get somebody else who can come and brief the public about how much has accrued to the states.
No, but
so what I'm saying is, if you are part of that administration, there are many commissioners who are not happy about the fact that the government is not transparent. But what can they do? What can they do? Beyond, saying that they should resign. And if at any point somebody in any administration disagreed with the posture of the administration, because the posture of the administration would depend on who is the captain, who is the chief executive, then nobody will save in any government. Because you can sit in a meeting and your personal views are different from the position taken by government. It will not mean that you have to resign every day or every hour. So that is beside the point. I have been out of office for 2 years now. Those questions have been recurring, and nothing has happened. I have also asked the question out of government. I asked the same questions in government. But in government, I could only ask these questions quietly, because there must be decorum. You must also show that sense of decency, yes, that you are part of a team. But now I am not part of that team, so like any other Akwa Ibom person, I can ask these questions. So it is certainly not right, it is not fair. And then we also wonder, what is all these points about recycling projects and showing them every week on television? In the last two years, we've had no new projects. No new projects. Outside the stadium that was commissioned recently, and nobody knows the cost. We have had no new projects, I can assure you. So all you find are projects completed in 2007, 2008, 2009, and every week they're recycled, they're shown on AIT. I know they earn revenues for you. They're shown on channels, they're shown on NTA, Silverbird, Ben Television, everywhere. And then nothing new. And you want to wonder, why should we spend money in this way? What are we trying to prove? Which other governors in Nigeria are spending money to celebrate projects which were completed and commissioned in 2008, and every week we are still showing the same projects?
Okay. You know, we don't have too much time.
Yes.
And in a few months, Akpabio will be out of office.
Yes.
And I'll ask again.
Yeah. Yes.
What are you bringing to the table?
One, there must be a total reorientation. I will come to the hard issues of development, but I believe that even as we speak today, what bothers us most in Akwa Ibom is the fact that in Nigeria today, the Akwa Ibom person has lost respect. The average Akwa Ibom person is seen as somebody who has no respect for money, who is reckless. And again, it has to do with the posture of the administration. And then you have this scenario where the governor of the state carries on as if he's a master. So that's why I'm talking about a reorientation. We need leadership that would respect the people and act with humility, with the understanding that, look, power comes from the people. I was elected to save. I am not a master. I'm not an emperor. That is critical, because what we find today in Akwa Ibom is a situation where the governor carries on as if he's an absolute ruler. And this has translated into politics where there's total exclusion. All the leaders, Chief Don Etiebet, Obon Victor Ta, Forek Aite, all the leaders in the state have been excluded from the politics of the state. Economically, the people have been excluded. There's no participation. Money is spent outside. There's so much poverty, even though Akwa Ibom is reputed to be the highest revenue in Nigeria, but there's so much poverty. So you have that paradox. Now, what we are going to do is to now have a government which, by the special grace of God, will be an administration that I will lead, that will center on the people, because development is about people. It's not only about roads. Yes, you build roads, but there must be that connection. Because when the people are poor, and you are talking about absolute poverty, not even relative poverty, you go to rural areas or even the coastal communities, people can't afford money to buy canoes or fishing implements and so on, so that outsiders will come and hire them as if they're slaves. In a state like Akwa Ibom, it is absolutely unacceptable. So we want to focus on programs that will create jobs for our people, create wealth for our people, empower our people, and of course, in doing this, the main plank of my agenda will be the industrialization of the state, because there must be a paradigm shift. We must push the state away from the civil service orientation, so that everything is about government, and people think that without government you cannot survive. There must be a shift, and the way to do it is to develop the entrepreneurial capacity of our people, and we'll do that by giving support to micro, small, and medium enterprises in various ways. We will provide funds, we'll provide technical support, we'll arrange partnerships where possible. So, because we believe that if we can develop the entrepreneurial capacity of our people, then we would have provided the foundation to grow the economy. And
take off.
Yes, yes. So outside looking at the other mega industries, which of course would drive growth. For example, the seaports, which of course we have to partner with the federal government, the airport projects, which today is a service facility. And because we have to reposition Akwa Ibom State as a state that can survive beyond oil. So that kind of facility too, we must turn it into a facility that can generate revenues by completing and putting the maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility to use. That should be a priority. And of course also building cargo terminals to generate revenue. We will revisit the science park, which was started by the administration of Governor Atta, because again, that would help us in generating jobs, creating jobs. We will pay special attention to agriculture, because I also believe that that is a veritable vehicle that we can use to create jobs. And that means looking at areas where we have comparative advantage. There's a rubber estate which has been abandoned. We'll reactivate it. We'll reactivate it. All right. We have a palm mill in our back. Yes. So we have taken time to come up with a blueprint which we will follow, which you can find on on our website, www.uou2015.com. The comprehensive blueprint, the summary is very well outlined. We've stated what we're going to do in all the sectors, including education, where outside setting minimum standards for schools, because what will you find in Akwa Ibom today, you find one school somewhere with one classroom or two classroom blocks and no toilets. You go there, you find another one. We want to provide minimum standards. A typical public school, what minimum facilities should you find in a typical public school? The same thing. Same thing in the health sector.
Let me
yes,
jump in.
Yes.
Now, so that because I want you to answer a few political questions.
Yes.
Before you go, we're out of out of time. Yes. You are in the APC now. You moved out from PDP. One of the problems that a lot of people talk about in Akwa Ibom that has generated some kind of political tension in the state is the issue of zoning. And what excluded some of you and some other people who have formed what is called G22 in Akwa Ibom is the fact that the office was zoned, at least in Akwa Ibom, zoned to a particular, the Eket zone. You don't seem to believe in that.
No. You see, the whole zoning thing was a contraption to achieve a predetermined objective of imposition. We all knew it all had to do with the imposition agenda of the governor, because when I was in office as SSG and I was running for the office of governor, and the question was put to him, and he said, no, we can't. We have never had zoning in Akwa Ibom. I wasn't a product of zoning, because in all the previous elections and primaries, we had candidates and aspirants from all the zones contesting. We've never had zoning. And my position was this: it is unconstitutional, it's undemocratic. If people want to vote for anybody because of zoning, they will have the opportunity to vote. Open up the space. Those who want to vote for a particular person only because of zoning, they will have the option and the choice to do so. But those who also want to vote for other people for other reasons, they should also be given the opportunity to do so. At the end of the day, if the votes are counted, if those who voted because of zoning are in the majority, then that's democracy. But you cannot come by way of proclamation like the PDP did, and they singled out Akwa Ibom. This is one reason we cannot understand in Akwa Ibom. You single out Akwa Ibom. What about Rivers? What about the other states? Why single out Akwa Ibom? Why?
What is so special about Akwa Ibom?
It has to do with impunity. It has to do with the disrespect, the disregard for our people and for our leaders. And we have stated clearly, if you disrespect and disregard our people will reject a party that disrespects us, a party that excludes us, a party that disregards us. Because if zoning was there in Akwa Ibom, and if the governor meant well, then he would have applied it in his own senatorial district. Because in his own senatorial district, where he's also running for Senate, a particular section, their back section, they have never produced a senator. And everybody knows it should be the turn of that area to produce the next senator. But he is running. Okay. So why the double standards? And you talk about justice, okay. Why the double standards? Okay. So it was all...
We're out of time.
Yes.
We've gone around the state.
Yes.
You've been campaigning.
Yes.
Are you sure you will be the next governor of Akwa Ibom State, based on what you have seen?
Of course, I have felt the pulse of the people. You are right. I have gone around. I have campaigned. I have consulted, and I believe that because this is about democracy, and it is about the decision and choice of the people. I believe that I've connected well, and from the feelers I am getting, certainly, the people would elect me as the next governor of Akwa Ibom State. It is about the people. This is the difference between me and the PDP candidates. The PDP candidate is riding on the back of the governor, and the governor is saying, well, whether you like it or not, I present this man to you as your next governor. Our approach is different. We are presenting our programs to the people of the states, and we are saying, look, check our antecedents, where we are coming from, where we have been, and we have these programs for our people, and we want to change your circumstances. We vote for us, it is in your hands. That is the difference. Okay. Well, so we are not saying, so that is the difference. Okay.
We wish you luck.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
The endeavor, next few weeks, of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll see the outcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll make this presentation to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a mug. I was a guest on the O&M
show.
Thank you.
And we hope that if you triumph, that this will be on your table.
Thank you very much.
Government House with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I'll be back. Okay. By the grace of God. I'll be back to talk to you as governor of Akwa Ibom. Thank you.
So we'll take a break, and when we return, we have our own dear friend, Joe Dauda, who's out with a new book. Don't go away.
Thank you.
Good luck. Ebele Jonathan.
He assumed office with a vision and a dogged determination to make a difference. Despite daunting challenges which could have destabilized our renewed march to greatness, he has remained steadfast in his quest to deliver the dividends of democracy to all Nigerians. All around us, evidence abound that he is working and enriching the lives of millions of our countrymen and women. Because he is humble and filled with love for our country, he has refused to be distracted. He is the first president of Nigeria to give a documented account of his achievements, and these are yet to be disputed. If he has been able to do so much in just 4 years, let's imagine what he can do with 4 more. Think Nigeria. Vote good luck. This message is brought to you by the Wind of Hope.
O&M Late Show. In my hands, I have a small book. Here it says 2015, Jonathan versus Buhari, the psychological perspective. The psychological perspective. Well, very shortly, we'll have some explanation on what this book is all about, and it will be providing some answers to us. Joining us now is the author of the book himself, Mr. Joe Dauda.
Hello, Joe. You're welcome.
Thank you very
Joe,
much.
how you doing? Sit, please.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
So, Joe.
Yeah. This is your seat. Let me find my poster.
Yes.
So, what made you write this book, Buhari and Jonathan, a psychological perspective?
Okay. I noticed that Nigerians were very emotional about these 2 people. And it was just in December. You know, I just thought like, in the next few weeks, people are about to make a monumental decision. And I don't see anybody talking sense. Everybody is just talking sentiments, purely. Most of the people I talk to, it's either you are saying other people are based on sentiments, or you yourself, you know. So I decided that, you see, the role of a writer is very critical in society. Are you aware that this book has changed me? You see, when you attempt to write, you are forced to crystallize your thoughts. So writing this book was also an experience for me.
What drove you?
Yes. The point was to give Nigerians an opportunity to look at the facts behind these men. I've always favored temperament.
To understand them?
To understand them in a way. Because you notice that they started changing their attire. Buhari started wearing a jumpsuit in his some of his posters. You know, Jonathan has always dressed in a very You know, he changes his dress all the time to reflect the Nigerian, the diversity in Nigeria. So, you know, the fact is, for you to do a critical analysis, the best way to do it for me was to go through their temperaments, which cannot change.
So Buhari,
yes,
what are his temperaments?
There's not enough time. When I was speaking on WeFM, I had over 1 hour and we could not deal with this topic. And now I can see we have just less than 15 minutes.
Make an attempt.
So I'm going to just keep, you know, summarizing everything. Buhari, based on my analysis, is a melancholy choleric. Choleric.
You will have to explain that.
I will have to explain. Okay, basically you have 4 temperaments. Most people know about sanguines and they know about introvert and extrovert. If you say this person is an introvert, he talks more, he's a friendly person, you know, he is more external based. If you talk about introverts, quiet and all that, Mahmoudi, I think you are a little bit of an introvert as opposed to him. He is more extroverted. I think so. Just the little time I've spent with you. Yes. So now there's nothing wrong with any temperament. Every temperament has baggage and it has strengths. So certain guy, Hippocrates by name, 2,500 years ago, did a further categorization of this introvert, extrovert, and made the introverts and broke them into sanguine and choleric. Basically, the sanguine is the introvert that is more like happy-go-lucky, if you like. Okay. The choleric is the extrovert. Did I say introvert? The extrovert that is more, you know, he's just happy, friendly. He's just about being happy and making people happy, telling stories. His word count is quite high. He talks a lot. Yeah. And then the extrovert is also, the choleric is also an extrovert, but more deliberate, more purpose-driven than just, you know.
And that's the Buhari.
We'll get to that. Yeah, he has that temperament. Then the introverts are broken into phlegmatic and sanguine. Phlegmatic and melancholy. Why am I making these mistakes? I don't know. So you have the phlegmatic and the melancholy. The melancholy is the real introvert. Very analytical, quiet. It's so easy to pick him out. He doesn't talk easily. So then the phlegmatic, he is withdrawn, he is quiet, there's nothing wrong with him, he's a normal person. Then the phlegmatic is the introvert that is happy-go-lucky. Almost, you find his second in the other side too. So Jonathan is a phlegmatic sanguine. My analysis, I stand to be corrected. And in his own case, he is predominantly phlegmatic. I'm looking at 70-30.
Is he extroverted?
No. Jonathan, of course, he has the extroverted temperament. That is as the sanguine. Did you get it? He's phlegmatic sanguine. He's a mix. Funny enough, these two people have all the temperaments in their mix. Buhari, I said, is melancholy choleric. Jonathan, phlegmatic sanguine. But Buhari is not, his ratio is a little bit different. Now, it's more like a 50-50 male claw.
How does this different temperaments, how do they affect leadership?
That is the most important question here. Because vocations, you understand, there is there are temperament, there is a kind of compatibility, if you like, between vocations and temperaments. For example, a scientist who deals with details and all that, you know, if you are with the of the introverted temperament, is going to be better. An MC, a politician, all of that, you know, you need the extroverted temperament. Now, when it comes to leadership, the truth is the choleric has natural advantages. Do you get? The choleric volunteers for leadership. He makes decisions easily and disappoints in leadership. Having said that, the point must be made that there is no temperament that cannot rule. Mahmoud, you are quite tall. When I stood near you, I knew that you were a hawk of a man. I used to think Obiora was tall.
That's what I've been suffering.
Yes, I used to think.
Don't even know I'm tall
and you're tall anymore. I used to think Obiora was tall, but when I stood by you, I realized that, wow, this guy is Goliath.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to play basketball, you, me, and Obiora, your hands will get to the hoop quite easy. So you have a natural advantage in basketball. But I could just leave the hoop alone and be throwing jump shots. I won't even get there. So the point is, I have to realize that I have a disadvantage in basketball playing when it comes to dunking.
And
so
then
I now fashion out another strategy. That is the only way out. So the journey starts from knowing that, oh, I am this.
This is what you are.
Yes.
Okay, because there's no time, we're not going to give you 1 hour.
Yes.
We're just going to give you another 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay. Are you
in
sure it's just 1 or 2 minutes?
situation now,
Yes.
in this situation we find ourselves,
Yes.
which character disposition should we go for?
Obiora, not so fast. How many minutes do I have? Hold
God,
on.
you have two.
How many minutes do I have?
You have 2 minutes.
It's totally unfair to do that. To deal with this issue.
No,
the only thing I can say.
I think we need to bring him back.
The only thing I can say.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to.
Who do we need? Which of these?
These two
will
temperaments.
serve our purpose right now.
The purpose of the book is to open up these two characters,
And Nigerians
so
will
that
make
we
their
can
choice.
see. I can make some statements so that people can gain something.
Can you quickly do that?
Yes. What I can say is that when I did an analysis of Buhari's greatest strength is his abstemious nature. But when you look at his temperament, it's more likely to be an extremist because of the male clothing. Now, let me explain to you. Extremism is actually could be a result of wanting to be perfect. Now, the melancholy wants to be perfect in everything. In fact, that is why they have a low self-esteem. If they come second in school, they are not happy with it. They want to come first. Do you understand? So they tend to be extremists. That is why you notice that Buhari is known for a few things, but he takes them very far.
How about Jonathan?
Now, Jonathan's case, very interesting case. If you notice Jonathan, there is nobody that can claim that he doesn't know that Jonathan is a little bit slow and everything these people have said, his critics have said, they are true. But the strength of Jonathan comes from his balance, his calmness, his ability to be calm in the face of all sorts of things. I put it to you that a funny temperament might not have been able to be calm this long. Do you know that I have a younger brother. I beat him when he was young. He's in the university now, final year. When he was young.
All right, you know what? We are going to bring you back.
Really?
On this, yes. And I think as early as maybe our next episode, we're going to work it out and bring you back. We need to talk about this.
Good.
But unfortunately, we have to go at this time. Well, that's all the time that we have for the O&M Late Show tonight. I am Mamode Akuga.
I am Obiora Ilo. If you missed any part of this, go to www.youtube.com O&M Late Show. Let's do this again on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Hopefully Joe will be with us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.